All right, folks. Appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. Change of plans, then a change of plans. So, of course, we've got a Friday night show scheduled, as we always do after football. And we had two pretty good games tonight, at least in terms of Power Four brand name games, Minnesota-Nebraska, and, of course, Louisville and Miami. But I did not see either game. I was gone all night. Walked in the door about 11:45 and had determined I didn't see the games. I don't feel like going live. I'm going to watch these games. I'm going to start watching Minnesota-Nebraska. I am going to look at the score. I'm not going to sit here for 6 hours, not know what the scores are, but I'm going to start watching these games, and I'm going to look at the stats online and look at the scores. And then I started trading texts with the likes of Corey Bretta and others and thought, you know what? No, I am going to go live. I'm going to go live. I don't know for how long, but I am going to go live and have my piece, even though I know nothing about what happened in these football games except Nebraska lost and Miami lost. So if anything, and I rarely do this, rarely do this, meaning almost never, I'm going to call out these two fan bases. They're a bit ridiculous. And if I am not speaking to you, then I'm not speaking to you. That doesn't mean every Nebraska fan is ridiculous and every Miami fan is ridiculous, but many of them are, as is the case with most fan bases. They are delusional to a large extent. 10%, 40%, 70%. There's a sizable portion of every fan base that is ridiculous and delusional. So what I have had to put up with in various aspects of this would be, okay, let's start with Nebraska. My goodness. Beat a decent football team before we even conjecture or think about ever having a discussion about Nebraska football contending for anything. Just win a game in your little section of the country between Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Between those four states, can you win a game? It's just unbelievable. Nebraska sucks. They suck. Now, when I say they suck, do I mean they suck like they're the worst team in existence? No. But considering their history, their brand, their status in college football, and considering what is talked about and hyped about and talked about and projected and given an easy Big Ten schedule and all of that, they suck. It's terrible. It's pathetic. And then their coach is talking about, I don't know if he handled this well or didn't handle it well, because as I mentioned to somebody this week when they called and were criticizing Matt Rule for elaborating on Penn State and how much he loves Penn State and how much he learned there and how much he enjoyed it there. And that's fine. That's great. That's where he went to school. That's where he played football. That's understandable. I have no issue with that. However, and I think he was in a no-win situation, because if he would have downplayed it and said, you know, I'm a Nebraska guy and I'm here and that's all I care about. I don't care about Penn State. That was in my past. That would apparently have not been authentic, for one thing, because he certainly holds a place, does Penn State, in Matt Rule's heart. So he was being very transparent and honest about that. So ultimately, I respect him for being honest. And he could have been the coach like a Lincoln Riley and others, Brian Kelly and others, who could have denied everything. And then he might be headed off to Penn State in 6 weeks, but not coaching like this. He's not. So just first thought about Nebraska is, God love you, Nebraska fans. You have put up with all sorts of garbage. You support this football team. You're loyal to this football team, this football program, and you almost have the worst of both worlds, because you have this amazing legacy and this dominance that is in recent college football history. But you know what? Your team sucks. Your program sucks. It's not a good program. It's not even a decent program. It's okay. It's Rutgers. You are Rutgers. You are Rutgers. If we stripped away the uniform decals and stripped away the name and we just watched football, you're Rutgers. You're Rutgers. Until proven otherwise, when has Nebraska ever beaten a good team? A decent team. They were playing, a lot of you wouldn't even consider Minnesota to be a decent team. And I saw that point spread and I pulled back on my criticism of Vegas quite a bit, although I questioned it a couple times this week and said, Minnesota's a 7.5 or 8 point underdog at home to Nebraska. Oh, yeah, Nebraska's going to kill them. I heard this from a few people. Nebraska's going to kill them. Minnesota's no good. They can't run the ball. I know all that, but you know what? We talk about Matt Rule getting the Penn State job. Seriously? Well, PJ Fleck, the guy on the other sideline is much more accomplished than Matt Rule is. I got to go watch the football game, but all I saw was 24-6, and I watched the first 2 drives of the game, and obviously Nebraska did score a field goal, so I have not seen the carnage yet, but my goodness. If I had the wherewithal right now just to, sit up all night and look at stats and go through scores and results, because I bet I could guess them based on my knowledge, and I'd come within a game or two of, again, well, Minnesota was not a ranked team, so this doesn't add to that, but 29 consecutive losses to ranked teams. And most of those are Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa, which weren't ranked very high. And just, oh my word, they didn't even lose a 1-score game tonight. It's just, I don't want to hear about Nebraska competing for anything until they win one freaking game. Just win one game. They can't beat anybody that has a pulse. So I don't want to hear anything more about Nebraska. I'm going to shut up about Nebraska in terms of any kind of talk of competitive football. We should talk about Nebraska like we talk about Rutgers. That's the best, most apt comparison I can make right now. They are probably better than Purdue, so I'm not going to leave them there. They're probably better than, I don't know, Northwestern just beat Penn State. Northwestern just beat Penn State. Has Nebraska posted a win like that recently? UCLA just beat Penn State. UCLA just beat Nebraska last year. Has Nebraska done? UCLA beat them last year, and they just beat Penn State, and they just beat Michigan State on the road. I don't know if there is, I don't know. This cake schedule may not be so cake. They go to Minnesota and lose by 18 points. So just stop it with this Nebraska crap. They're no good. They are no good. They're not a good football team. They scored 6 points tonight. I'm going to go watch the game. I'm going to see how they have one running back. That's the only guy that can run the ball. If you're a Power 4 team that's supposed to be contending for anything and you can only run the ball with one guy, Emmett Johnson, he's the only guy that can run the ball. Like, seriously? Who does that? Who does that anymore? Who, lines up a Emmitt Smith or Franco Harris and they get the ball 30 times and nobody else touches the ball? Like, that your running back room is no good when you can only run one guy, and he's not like a superstar. He's good. He's really good. But he's not like one of the best backs in the nation. Scored 6 points against Minnesota tonight. 6 points. Like, what are we talking about? Talking about Nebraska. I'll take these calls in just a second, but I got to rail on Miami a little bit here too, because this is just as pathetic. Okay. We know that Miami has almost every team, if not every team in college football, is going to lose a game this season. So it's not so much that they just lost a game, but Louisville, they're okay. They're in the Minnesota bucket. They're pretty much there as of right now. We'll see if they separate. Shoot, we should talk about Louisville. Louisville is going to be ranked higher than Miami in my top 25. They won the game head-to-head on the road. They're 5-1. Miami's 5-1. Rank Louisville higher. They won't be in the stupid fucking AP poll that sucks. They won't be because those morons don't know what they're doing. Pardon my language. All right. So, Miami. Okay, I do a Miami show every Wednesday. Cam Underwood, State of the U. There is nobody better to analyze their own football team from the standpoint of storylines and stats and facts and history and interesting anecdotes and all that. Of course, he's a fan. So I tell him all the time, as I did many times this past week, I got to bring you back to the middle because you lean way too far. So I gotta play devil's advocate. I gotta pull you back. But it wasn't him this past week. It was the Miami fan base ever since they beat Notre Dame. And sure, that was an impressive win. They beat South Florida after South Florida had ripped off those wins against Florida and Boise State. It's all been impressive. I got them ranked number 1 in the country. So I'm not saying that they have not achieved this season. Well, they've not achieved anything yet, but I mean within what they've had the opportunity to achieve. Nobody's been close to them. Nobody has pressed them. Florida State, Florida, South Florida. Notre Dame was a close game down to the wire, but they were clearly the better team. All of that. Yes, yes, yes. Miami has played like the best football team in the nation. But I'm not talking about this particular team. I'm talking about like knowing your place in college football, knowing your place. Miami has basically not won a meaningful game in 22 or 3 years. What's a meaningful game, Mark? You ask. Meaningful game. Like a game that is going to put you in position at least to win a conference championship. Okay, they went to the ACC championship game in 2017. Bravo. They lost by 5 touchdowns. Okay, so they won a game that year that obviously put them in position. But basically, they've been playing 7-5 football for 25 years. Look it up. Some people have pushed me on this, and I've had to produce the videos. I produced a video on Miami football about 3 or 4 years ago, and they took it rather well, the fan base. I was surprised because they were like, well, Mark, you threw it in our faces, and it was all correct, and it was all accurate. Over 40 teams, listen to this, over 40 teams in college football have finished in the top 10 since the last time Miami finished in the top 10. Over 40 teams. Houston, Arizona, Georgia Tech, Purdue, Minnesota, Kansas has finished in the top 10 since Miami last finished in the top 10. Okay. All right. I'm separating this year's team that was phenomenal up until tonight but what was driving me nuts is in the chat, not just last week, this has been going on for about 3 weeks, people calling out Ohio State and Georgia, and especially Ohio State because of the 2002 national championship game in which, they lost to Ohio State and they can't deal with that. But this calling out of the elite programs in the sport and saying, we want you, we're coming after you. You know what? Win a freaking meaningful game first. Don't come after Ohio State. You can't get out of the ACC. Get out of the ACC first. You can't get out of the worst conference in America. Do that first. Ohio State beat more good teams in 4 weeks last year than you have in 20 years. Like, beat a good team. Like, beat a few of them in meaningful situations. Show that your program actually can contend. Win the conference first. Do something first before you start calling out the very cream of the crop elite programs. Just because you're ranked number 2 in the country right now doesn't mean anything. And I think they're really talented. I think they're really good. Again, up until tonight, I thought that they had played the best football of any team in the country. I didn't think that they were the best. Understand the difference, but that they had played the best against the best combination, played the best competition up until tonight. But my goodness, calm down. Calm down. And just don't be going off and on what you accomplished in 1988 or 1992. Okay. Yeah. So I bite my tongue on that channel. I bite my tongue like 99% of the time to just say, shut up. You're driving me nuts. You're delusional. You've had a 7-5 program for 20 years. Stop talking about being on Ohio State's level just because you hate them. I can't help that. You know, they can't help that you suck. They can't help that you can never get to a game to play them because you suck. Now, maybe you don't suck this year, but again, tonight's result shows us pump the brakes a little bit. If you can't beat the 30th best team in the country, maybe you haven't quite arrived. Now, if Ohio State goes out and loses to Wisconsin Saturday night, you know what? That would be similar in a vacuum, but it's still not similar because they've got all the accomplishments of the last 20 years. It's just a bit mind-numbing. It's just, yeah. I appreciate somebody put something in the comments section as I was jumping on here about all sorts of other stuff that I'm doing. Yes, I would love to pull myself in about 6 different directions to just effectively tackle a number of various industries and areas. But I'm Mr. College Football, the voice of college football right this second. All right. Thank you for the Super Chat contributions. Let's get to them. Very nice of all of you. Do appreciate that. Nolan says, Matt Rule just passed the Penn State interview. That's well put. That's a good take. Good job, Nolan. Thank you for that. That's very nice of you. And of course, we've got Adam, Mark, Dylan Raiola, Matt Rule, and Carson Beck have no class. Pat Kraft is a bully. With Kurt Signetti out of the running, Penn State will be forced to hire Elvis or Bill Belichick. Well, you know who I want them to hire. Although, yes, all of this is beneath the king of rock and roll. So don't bring him into it. You know, college football is, let's not bring that into his stratosphere. That's way beneath him. They could hire Belichick. Penn State is mediocre and should accept that. Well, okay, Adam, let's not go too extreme here. Is this particular Penn State football team in 2025 mediocre? They might be. They might not even be that. But is Penn State mediocre? No. They're one of the 10 best programs in the country. Let's calm down. I know I'm piling on right now, but I think my take is justified. Let's not swing to the other end of the spectrum here. Adam says, Pat Kraft is loudmouth bully and a disgrace. He acted all principled and cried for Drew Aller at the press conference. Now Penn State has a $50 million buyout, has to hire a coach, and for $100 million, and has little to choose from. I don't know if they have little to choose from. We are in a day and age in which coaches do not have to be available. You can get them up out of their good job. So if Penn State, they're going to devote that much to a buyout, maybe or maybe not, depending on what James Franklin decides to do. Now, I do argue the quality of head coaches in college football is nowhere close right now to what it was 10 years ago. Michael Hogue joining us tonight. Michael, how you doing?
Good, Mark. Well, I see you changed your mind.
Yeah, I changed my mind.
Yeah, hey, every once in a while, it's nice to rant and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta ask you this. Is Nebraska so much trash that when they play Northwestern in a few weeks, Northwestern can beat them?
Of course, Northwestern could. They just beat Penn State. Sure.
Yeah.
They can beat them.
Yep.
I still think Nebraska is a better football team than Northwestern based on what I've seen and what I know. I think that they're better, but of course Northwestern can beat them. Sure.
But the thing I'm trying to figure out is how is it Miami gets off to such good starts every year and then they slip up in the middle portion of the season and then it just derails?
That is not correct, sir.
It's not?
No. Last year, they got off to a great start, and then they derailed.
Well, I thought there was some years they would like start off like maybe like 5-0 or 4-1 or something like that.
2017, they started 10-0.
Okay,
that was 8 years ago.
That's why I said some years.
Okay, I thought you said every year.
No. Sometimes in the past, and I like forever who wants to play Jeff Brom teams when they're unranked.
I'm telling you, he brought that magic from.
He brought it to
Boiler Up
3 times. Yes, sir.
Boiler Up. Yeah.
Do not do that. I'm telling you, I would be glad to take your money. But I wonder what makes Jeff like that, man.
So he's done this how many times?
He did it with just Ohio State 2018,
sure.
Iowa and Michigan State. I think it was in 21, and tonight. I think there's one other time he's done it, but I can't remember what it was.
There is another one.
But and tonight was Miami.
Well, Jeff Brom is really good at his job. He demands respect out of his team. He's a tough coach. He's a great play caller, offensive schemer. He's excellent. He's an excellent coach. I would have to credit, and I don't know who it was. I don't remember. Somebody that called a couple nights ago and suggested that he may be a dark horse candidate for the Penn State job.
I can't see him. I cannot see him leaving his alma mater. The only way I would see him leaving is maybe if he was to get an offensive coordinator job in the NFL. And I think he got opportunities and doesn't want to do that. But I could be wrong, though.
Do you know? Well, yes, you could be wrong. That's why I'm going to say, of course, he would be less apt to leave his alma mater than if he was at Virginia Tech. But Louisville's Louisville and Penn State is Penn State. So I don't know how much being the head coach at his alma mater ranks with him. I don't know. I have no idea.
Another thing, do you think IU and Kirsten Eddy jumped the gun a little too early with the new contract extension?
No. I don't know how long his contract was to begin with.
I think it was to like 2031 or something, 2030 or 2031.
So now they've extended him to when?
To 2033, I believe. 3 years.
I think that is more of a number one, I don't know if they've sweetened the pot, meaning increased his pay. So that would be part of it, increasing his pay. But the length of the deal, it doesn't really do much of anything. But it's more of a public relations move and a statement to him to say, we want you. We believe in you. We are going to do everything possible to keep you because, hey, we just had one of the best jobs in the country open up, and we may see more excellent jobs open in the next 6 weeks than we've ever seen in one college football season.
Yeah, and I think Austin brought it up, was it Notre Dame in 2023 was the other time Notre Dame was the top 5 team.
And Purdue beat Notre Dame?
No, Louisville was unranked because that was Jeff Brom's first year at Louisville, 2023.
Okay. Yeah. Notre Dame. Yeah, that I don't think they were in the top 5, but they might have been very close. I remember that Notre Dame team. They had just beaten somebody the week before. Anyway, regardless, yeah, it was close to that type of situation. But back to oh shoot, weeding through all that just threw me off my game. I
Sorry,
forgot.
sir.
No, that's my fault. I had a point about Braum, but anyway. All right, Michael. Anything else?
Yes. Tomorrow afternoon, from 3:30 to 7:00 is why certain times of year there should be running clock in college football, because I think that's what's going to happen at Camp Randall, or is the game at Ohio Stadium tomorrow.
Camp Randall.
That's why I think there should be sometimes be a running clock enforced in college football.
No, they're big boys at Wisconsin.
Yeah, I got a feeling it's going to be an ugly game. I'm thinking 45-3.
The way Ohio State's playing, though, they're not playing poorly, but they're very much playing conservatively. And somebody pointed out this, I don't know where this came from, or I would credit the source, that they've really been charting how much they've run the play clock. They're trying to really reduce these games. This team, they did the same thing last year. They have 17 game mentality in their brain. Mm-hmm. We're playing to a national championship game. So we're trying to get as least wear and tear on this team as possible. So, hey, if we don't win these games 63-10 against, like RG3 said, this was stupid. And I like RG3, and I think he does a great job doing the games, but he ranks Indiana number 1 over Ohio State simply. And I'm not saying that Indiana should not be ranked number 1 over Ohio State. I have no issue with that, but not solely because they beat Illinois by more points than Ohio State did. That is
with you.
Stupid analysis.
I'm with you. I think they got a score to settle because they said they gave up their first red zone touchdown of the season last week. But what is going to be an interesting game tomorrow? I'm trying to think who Georgia has tomorrow, because I know Alabama plays Tennessee, but I'm trying to remember who Georgia has tomorrow.
I can't tell you off the top of my head. I'm sure it'll come to me. I do not have the schedule in front of me.
I don't think in Missouri, but between Alabama and Georgia, who could ill afford a loss more?
Well, I gotta know who they're playing. Georgia's playing. Oh shoot! I should know who they're playing. Yeah, I can't think of who they're playing. Vandy's playing LSU and South Carolina's playing Oklahoma.
Ole Miss.
I go through the rest of they're playing Ole Miss. Yeah, they're a touchdown favorite in that game at home.
Okay.
Well, Alabama, until further notice, can afford a loss more so than Georgia, just because if there's a playoff spot on the line, they won the game.
Mm-hmm. It is USC Notre Dame's last shot to maybe lose a game the rest of the season.
No.
I'm trying to think who could possibly, if they get past Notre Dame, who can knock them off out of the CFP.
Oh, you're talking about USC losing to Notre Dame or Notre Dame losing to USC?
Notre Dame losing to USC.
What other teams could beat Notre Dame?
Or could possibly beat them if they beat USC tomorrow night?
Everybody on their schedule.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, sir. Like I said, you need to do ranks more often because they're so fun.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Mark. Have a good night. God bless, man.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, let's keep it rolling. Oh, man, this is a good time for CJ to roll on in here.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know how I roll on this show, and you know I got this running thing about Minnesota. So this just fits right up my alley, and I just want to say that your shiny head friend up there at Minneapolis got the job done. I want to give that cue ball credit where credit is due. He chalked it up tonight and chalked up a win, so I want to give him some credit.
You started saying shiny head, and you said your shiny head. And I was like, did I miss something here?
No, you got a nice head of hair. You ain't had no cue ball friend up there in Minneapolis.
They combed it up well tonight.
You did a good job with that. I appreciate you being on the air. You know, this is the only place I go for content. You know, Mark, there really ain't nowhere else to go on a Friday night. CFB Late Night Live. You see that banner up there above your head? That's representing our community. So I just want to tell you, I really appreciate it. I also really appreciate your words to start this show. And reality check for all them delusional Husky fans out there, all them Nebraska Husky fans that continue to struggle with delusion from 30 years in the past. All right. I really want people to recognize that we ain't living in no Scott Frost quarterback era no more. All right. And how many coaches is this since Fiery Bo Pelini, since they've been crap, Mark? How many coaches is this since they've been able to win the big one?
Oh, you got Smiley Riley, and you got Frost, and you've got Rule now.
Smiley Riley. I miss some Smiley Riley, Mark. That boy was a nice young man.
He was a nice guy. Yeah.
He was a nice young man.
Hey, he went 19-19. That would do just fine.
Yeah. How's your boy Scott Frost doing down there at UCF?
UCF, I know they were good enough to beat North Carolina, which you could be a high school team and get that done. Otherwise, I think that they're losing their share of games at this point.
You know, I love this transitive property thing. You know that, right,
sure.
Mark? We've been talking about that for a while. And Minnesota is locked right in the middle of my favorite transitive property string of the season. You know where that goes, don't you, Mark?
Okay,
nope.
we're going to take it to Fresno State somehow, right?
Ain't no Fresno State.
No. We're going to take it. We're taking it to Cal Fresno State, right?
You're pretty close now. We're taking it to San Diego State.
San Diego State. That's right.
We're talking about a Cal. And by the way, as we talk about this, it's 11:45 in the Central Time Zone, 12:45 Eastern Time. I just want to tell everybody that out there on the West Coast now, Cal is playing UNC, and we still got this game with 14-10 in the third quarter. All right, so you got them lousy Cal Bears going up against Bill Belichick and his future daughter. I mean, his future girl, his future wife. And it's 14-10 on the West Coast. But that Cal team, let's not forget, that Cal team beat San Diego State by 34 points. Excuse me. They lost to Cal. They lost to SDSU. Let's make it simple. They lost to SDSU 34-0. Now, keep in mind, Mark, that Cal team also pulled the pants off of Minnesota. Remember that game?
I do. Sounds like I'm also going to have to keep some of my dating choices under wraps. But go ahead.
27-14. And now that Minnesota team just pulled the pants right off, pulled them pants all the way to the turf, Mark. Pulled them right off, all right, of Dylan Raiola. 9 sacks. Are you kidding me? 9 sacks? I mean, come on now. From Minnesota?
Minnesota, we're not talking about some great football program, some great football team, but they have now defeated Nebraska 6 consecutive times. They've been a better team every year since PJ Fleck's been there. They're playing at home. Nebraska's done nothing to warrant being an 8-point favorite going into this game. I grabbed those points. As soon as I saw Nebraska, Minnesota, those points, Louisville-Miami, 12.5, 13 points. I'll take them.
Well, I'll tell you one thing right now. I want to give a little bit of a shout out to them Nebraska offensive linemen because I think they getting a bad rap over there on that X app. I think they're getting a bad rap, and I'll tell you why, Mark. You watch that game over there on that Fox Network and get your buddy boy Tim Brando calling the game.
Oh, yeah.
You watch that game, and you'd see that Dylan Raiola, I swear that guy thinks his name is Dylan Rollout because all that guy did all day long was roll out of that pocket. And he was responsible for at least half of them sacks now. It wasn't just that offensive line. That guy had no clock. He got no pocket clock, Mark. So I don't understand how every single coaching regime in Lincoln, Nebraska can look the same. I don't understand. And they're not turning the ball over like they did under, Scott Frosty the Snowman, but they still are undisciplined. They're still bad in the trenches. I don't understand. I don't understand how it can be all the same. And I also don't understand why Matt Ruley was ever even in the conversation for Penn State. I don't understand that. You want to tell me that, Mark? What has he done to be in the conversation at Penn State?
He decided back in 1990 to attend Penn State. That's what he's done.
And did you hear that garbage press conference he held earlier this week? Yes. Well, he was blushing like Betty Boop herself about he was just so prideful about the fact that his name's getting brought up. Oh, that's such a good thing. I call that big boy Betty Boop. It was disgusting, Mark. It made me might want to throw up my cheese crackers. It was just I tell you what, that boy don't deserve to even be in the conversation, Mark. And I'll tell you one thing, and I'll let you go because I know you got a long trail of callers. I want to give you 3 names at this point to really consider for this Penn State job. All right? Okay. I want you to listen to these 3 names.
I could probably guess one of them.
Well, I'm going to go with number 1. I'll actually go with a little bit of a surprise here for you, Mark. Okay. And I'm going to go PJ. And I'm going to tell you why. I've had a bit of a change in heart in PJ, not because of the win tonight. I promise I ain't living in no moment now. But I really do believe that his level of energy could work out there. Now, I don't know he can recruit to that level. He's been underwhelming at Minnesota. I know you don't agree with that, but I believe he's been underwhelming up there at Minnesota. But I think PJ should be in the conversation now. All right? He's number 1. All right? You want to know number 2, Mark?
If you want me to guess one of the final 2.
You want to guess my 2nd and 3rd picks for that Penn State job?
I believe that one of them, I'm going to take a wild guess that you probably feel as though they should actually give this interim Terry Smith a shot.
Well, I still want to see what Terry Smith does down there in Iowa tomorrow night. I want to see what he does in Iowa. But he's not in my top 3 now.
Okay.
He ain't my top 3. I want to see what he does in Iowa. You got a educated guess on them other 2.
Let's. Are we talking about like heavy hitters here?
I would say fairly heavy hitters. Yeah.
Fairly heavy hitters. Matt Campbell.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I don't got no order here. I don't got no order. Matt Campbell's got to be on the list. And this other one, I guarantee you ain't gonna get this other one. Because listen to me. I want to tell you something, right? I want to tell you something. I'm not gonna sit here and lecture you like I'm your mama, but I do want to let you know something. I want to be very clear that this guy should be on the list, and I haven't heard his name brought up once.
Okay.
I don't understand.
Give me a second. I'm gonna go with. Oh, I got 2 names in mind, but I'm going to lean this way because he's more seasoned, has proven more. Brett Bielema.
I love me some Brett, but it ain't Brett.
No, I nailed both of them.
It ain't Brett, Mark.
Oh.
But I do love me some Brett. Me and Brett used to frequent the Golden Corral back when he lived down in Razorback territory. But no, I tell you who you want to know. You want to take the guess at the other one?
I'm guessing that Brett frequented a few more times after you decided to possibly cut back. But I'm going to go with, even though you've in our couple of discussions, we've probably talked, I don't know, 5 times maybe that you've called in, maybe a little more than that. So I don't have a complete field, but I know you got a lot of, great football knowledge across the country. I'm going to go with a wild card on Jed Fish.
That is a wild card. That's a good one. I actually like me some Jed. That's a good name. That's a really good dark horse name. No, and you tell me, you might sit here. I can't believe you haven't said it, but I'm going to tell you this, and you might be like, oh, yeah, his name's getting brought up. But I don't watch no college football people other than you, so I wouldn't know, Mark. But I'm going to say it right now. 2 words. Patty Fitz, baby. Patty Fitz. Well, I mean, why would that man not be in the conversation? I'm serious. Why would he not be in the conversation? Can you explain that one to me? He's got to be in the running. Why would he not be? The lawsuit is over. This is the first major job that's open since that lawsuit got resolved. Why would he not be in the conversation? I don't understand.
I believe that Penn State, and this would eliminate Fleck and even Campbell to a certain extent, that there's going to be pressure to bring in somebody who has won something major.
Pat Fitzgerald. Pat Fitz. Let me tell you something, Mark.
Yes.
12 years with your other cue ball friend, James Franklin. And where did he come from? Vandy. Very like program to NW.
Okay.
Very like program to NW.
All right.
I'm just telling you.
I gotcha.
And I understand sometimes we want to go in the opposite direction to what just didn't work. But the guy was there for 12 years, Mark. I don't think I think your choices are limited. I think your choices are limited to being able to go out there and swing big. Like, I don't, who else, you tell me right now, the last thing I'm going to say. I promise I'll get up on out of here. You tell me who is reasonably, you say, well, Fleck and Campbell, they may not be big names enough, or Patty Fitz ain't a big enough. You tell me who's won more than those guys that would even be a candidate. Who's won more than those guys, Mark?
Okay, so nobody who's won a national championship, I think, is a candidate. So we can forget those guys. There's only 3 of them coaching. So forget those guys. And then you got guys like Kirk Ferentz, who's obviously not going anywhere. He's about to retire, if anything. So take those kind of guys off the board that are up in age. And I think you're looking at that's why I brought up Matt Campbell. For one thing, I do think that he should be.
Matt Campbell hadn't even real quick. Let me just say this because I put him on my list, but Matt Campbell ain't win no Big 12 championship. He ain't gone to no college football playoff. At least Patty Fitz. Yeah. Patty Fitz and Matt Campbell. You got to say Patty Fitz is a better candidate than Matt Campbell.
None of the guys you mentioned has won a conference championship.
Well, but Patty Fitz has taken that team and gone to a conference championship game at lowly Evanston.
Yes, twice.
Iowa State's done it in the Big 12 at a better, more stable program. I'm just saying, I don't know who else you gonna get. And I see Mozart's ghost in the chat say Bobby Stoops. Yeah, you can get Bobby Stoops out of retirement. Then get Bobby Stoops out of retirement. We all know he ain't coming out of retirement to coach there. I think the only place Bobby Stoops would probably come out of retirement for, maybe that Iowa, or maybe he come out to be the interim down there in Norman again. But I don't see him going nowhere else now.
Okay, I got to correct something here because I've seen this like 3 times about Pat Fitzgerald winning a Big Ten championship. Randy Walker tied for the Big Ten championship at Northwestern in 2000 with Purdue and Michigan. That is the last time Northwestern has won. Again, it was shared with 2 other teams, a Big Ten championship. Pat Fitzgerald did not win any Big Ten championships. He lost 2 Big Ten title games, 2018, 2020.
But can you just answer that question real quick for me, Mark?
What am I answering now?
Has that name, Pat Fitzgerald, has that actually been brought up this week? Have you heard that anywhere?
No.
Has that name? Why on freaking this green earth would that name not be brought up? I don't. That makes 0 sense, and you know it makes 0 sense. I can see those wheels,
out of mind.
I can see those 100 wheels in your head turning right now. It makes no sense.
David Greenshield is saying Mark Rogers has a man crush on Pat Fitzgerald. Sounds like somebody else does.
How you haven't not mentioned his name is beyond me, Mark.
Well,
I believe. Look, can I just go real quick? he is the best coach available. He is the best football coach available. He may not be the biggest name or the widest personality. I believe he's the best football coach available. And you know he's available because he ain't got no job.
I don't know who else we would consider to be available.
Guys who are viable options, I'm going to consider available. I think Matt Campbell is fringe available. I don't know that he's available. I think it's clear Kurt Cignetti ain't available. I think people like Matt Rule's available. I think PJ's available. I think those are the class of people we got to talk about. But ultimately, all the people who's be available, Patty Fitz, Paul Christ. I don't think Bobby Stoops is available. Hey, Mark Stoops is available. You want to go get Mark Stoops and bring him up to Happy College? You want to bring him up to Happy College, Mark? Let's see if we can bring him up to Happy College and see how he does there.
No, they don't. They do not want Mark Stoops there.
So, again, you tell me a better coach that you would consider available.
Lane Kiffin.
You think he's leaving Ole Miss for Penn State?
Maybe.
All right, bring in Lane Kiffin. Bring all his social media minions on. Bring all them boys all down there. Let's see how that works. That ain't going to work out. I'll tell you right now, they hire Lane Kiffin. He ain't bringing them to national. He ain't bringing home a national title. He can't do it at Ole Miss. Why would he do it at Penn State? That boy ain't even going to make a playoff down there at Ole Miss.
Maybe, maybe not.
No, he has.
All right, TJ.
Has he made a playoff? You tell me that right now. Has he made a playoff? I rest my case.
But he has done a pretty remarkable job at Ole Miss.
Well, he's done something. But I'll tell you one thing. Just a reminder, how do I get your picks on Saturday?
You get my picks on Patreon. You can be a YouTube channel member at the highest level. Now, if you would have signed up, you would have gotten Louisville plus 12.5, and you would have gotten Minnesota plus 7.5. You would have had two winners tonight. But you get my picks on Patreon for the week, or you can sign up for the entire month as well.
I just want to make one more plea to people in the chat. Somebody gave this man some gosh darn funds. Give this man some gosh darn money so he can make a trip over there to Whataburger. I mean, give this man something so he can continue tonight on this show. I mean, somebody drop a nice little fancy super chat in there for you, because you know I'm going to come on here one of these days and drop a nice little one in there for you, Mark.
Well, considering how much I spent on dinner tonight, maybe somebody would.
Well, somebody cover that dinner for Mark Rogers tonight. And you know, you know I got you next time, Mark. You know I'm going to drop one of them fancy little super chats in there for you. You be patient. I hope you give us our two tonight. I just hope somebody's on here. I just hope somebody drops a nice one for you.
I am patient, if nothing else. There we go. There's the Patreon right there. CJ, you always drop the knowledge for us. Give us something to think about.
You take care of yourself now, Mark. I'll talk to you after the live football games tomorrow night.
That's right. Let's do it. All right. So as the man just let everyone know, as Jackson Johnson is letting us know, we are at 9 minutes. I want to go watch Nebraska and Minnesota. I want to go see Nebraska get sacked 9 times and kick 2 field goals against the 50th best team in the country. Or maybe they're the 50th best team in the country, and Minnesota's like 35th. And then I want to go watch Louisville and Miami and not be up till 5 in the morning. So looks like everybody's got 1 minute. We'll start with Minnesota Dave. Minnesota Dave, what's going on tonight? Minnesota Dave's not with us. Sports Talk with somebody. Sports Talk, what's going on?
Well, what's up, Mark? How about them Cardinals?
Oh, yeah. You should be a happy man there, Austin.
I am, Mark. I am. And Mark,
awesome.
It's a good day to be a Cardinal. Good day. Good day. Defense, Mark, got to give them a lot of credit tonight. They showed up, showed out, and they did their thing. And like people mentioned already tonight, Jeff Brom's good for at least one of these every year. So I'm glad we got
year. Well, let's not jump the gun. Maybe 3 in 10 years. How about that?
Yes, 3 in 10 years. 3 in 10 years. But it's a good win, Mark. Appreciate you.
Absolutely a great win. You should be mighty happy your football team. They're back in the ACC race.
Hmm.
Heck yeah.
Yes. So I'm very thrilled about that. The offense almost lost at the end there, Mark, but we got it done. So that's all that counts. Thank you for letting me on, Mark, so you can get to your next caller. Thank you as always.
Oh, Austin was quick there, but congratulations, Austin. Good to hear from you. We're going to get back Minnesota Dave back in line here. Minnesota Dave, what's going on?
I don't know what happened. I got
That's
knocked
all right.
out.
Congratulations.
Oh, what a great win. I was so happy. We outplayed them. We adjusted in the second half and just kicked their ass the whole entire way. That was
Yeah,
the
it
best
appears.
part
I'm going to
about
go
it.
watch it.
Oh, and I think we had like 9 sacks today.
Yes, that's what I just heard. 9 sacks.
Yeah, just think about it, Mark. I was already you know how I was complaining about how the defensive line and the O-line were playing. They played lights out today.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Did they run the ball?
Oh yeah, they ran
Okay.
for Taylor ran for over 147 yards, and the rest of the team ran for about 185, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they did. Look at that. So, yeah, I don't know if you heard me off the top, and I know this needs to be about Minnesota because they won the game. So I'll just say this about 10 seconds for Nebraska. Until they win something, beat someone, I'm just getting tired of hearing about how Nebraska is going to do this and they're going to do this and they're going to break through and they're just nothing. Nothing.
They've lost 6 straight to Minnesota.
When is the last time this team has beaten anyone any good?
I don't know, Mark. I really don't know.
It's been
And
forever.
I'll be honest with you. You're comparing them to Rutgers. At least Rutgers gave Minnesota a game.
Yes, you're right. That's a good comparison there. They sure did.
You know, that was this was a great game. I loved it. I gotta say something though. I want to talk about a certain fan that was behind me from Nebraska, constantly screaming the whole entire game. No one else, no other Nebraska fans around me are screaming and screaming loudly as they can.
That's
This
great.
lady constantly, not once, but twice, people were saying, "Shut up. My God, it's first down and the play clock hasn't even started and you're screaming like it's the end near the end of the game." Oh, and right in my ear too, the whole entire time. Oh, seriously, if it wasn't a woman, I would have punched him.
That's hilarious.
Oh, and I love
Even in the
Nebraska
fourth
fans.
quarter, they're screaming.
Oh yeah, the whole time because we kept on trying to tell her to shut up, and I think she was just doing this on purpose, just to be a total bitch.
Do you sit in the same seats every week?
Every week, and I'm going to be honest with you. Normally, that's a season ticket holder that sits right behind me,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say next time, don't sell your seats because I do not want to go for that again. Oh, that was the worst.
Where do you sit?
I sit near the 20-yard line.
Okay. Is that a
Lower
pretty
deck
good
20.
stadium to watch a game?
Oh yeah, I love going to TCF Bank Stadium. It's a great, not a bad seat in the house. I've been to a couple seats here and there, but just when my dad and my mom decide to go to a game, I usually buy like a ticket for myself, and then I'll go sit in the upper decks and stuff like that. There's not a bad seat in that place at all.
Let's get optimistic about the Gophers now, Dave. Let's look at the schedule here. Who's coming up next? We've got
Iowa
on the road. Okay.
One of the funnest things right now is when we were chanting, "Who hates Iowa? We hate Iowa." Both fan bases were cheering it.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well.
But yeah, what a win, and what a great win for Louisville too. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Mark, I don't know if I ever told you this, but technically I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. I was only living there for 6 months of my life before my parents moved back to Michigan. And then we lived in Toronto for a while. And then we lived in Minnesota most of my life.
Okay. It's a good side note. I'll
Yeah.
add that to my Minnesota Dave knowledge. Okay. Born in
Yeah.
Louisville.
Not by choice.
Okay. Well, I was born in Chicago and remember nothing about that either. It's same kind of situation.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get back to basically the PJ, your last caller before Austin was talking. The guy that sounds like he was from Arkansas.
Yes. CJ.
CJ. Okay, CJ. I wouldn't be surprised if PJ wants to go to Arkansas.
Oh, Arkansas. He was saying Penn State.
Oh, Penn State. Yeah, he's not going to Penn State. Yeah, he's not going to Penn State. I could see Arkansas, but I would never see Penn State. Yeah, there's no
I don't
way.
think Penn State, the fans are not going to put up with somebody who's not accomplished something. They're going to think, okay, we got rid of James Franklin
And
for.
they're also not going to put up with the row the boat stuff.
Yeah. I don't see that happening. And not that that's like Matt Campbell or PJ Fleck's fault. They've not been at a Penn State yet to see what they could do, but I just don't think that that's going to fly with the fan base.
It's all about big names. Get the biggest names you possibly can right now for Penn State. I mean, that's what their program is right now. But gosh, man, like you said, Nebraska oh gosh, it was awful. Just they are just awful.
Yeah.
And their fan bases, I know I love their fans, except for that one woman that sat behind me. I love their fans. Their expectations are just still so high. They think they're on cloud nine. It's like you had to beat somebody, and you haven't beaten Minnesota in years. You haven't beaten Iowa in years. You haven't beaten Wisconsin in years. You know, those are your big rivals. And don't get me started on the whole old teams from the Big Ten West, because they are finished 500 against those teams, and the only team they had had a winning record was Illinois, and Illinois was crap. For a while until now.
Well, congratulations, Minnesota Dave.
And I'm also surprised that the fans rushed the field, so we don't have to get onto that one. I'm just like, really? We've won this game 6 times. We're expected now to beat Nebraska.
Yes. All right, man.
All right. See you later. Go for Sky-U-Ma. Row the boat.
All right. We are out of time, but we'll take our 2 callers because they're 2 good ones. Muley, what's going on?
Hey, Mark. So, interesting fact: Greg McElroy said that Penn State should consider Pat Fitzgerald for the coaching job. So, I just want to throw.
CJ will be happy with that. Okay.
Yeah, did not see that coming. But yeah, just wanted to say that, and since I only have a minute, I'll say Miami's not overrated. Let's pump the brakes a bit. I think this is a good Louisville team that they lost to.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And if you heard my rant off the top, it was less about Miami. I'm not saying that this is the end of their season or they're no good. I'm just saying, again, this is maybe just my own personal vendetta against what I listen to and have been for the last 3 or 4 weeks on our Miami show from these Miami fans that are like calling for Georgia and Ohio State. It's like, come on, win something first. Get out of the ACC first.
Right.
Win a playoff game. Win something. They've won nothing in 20 some years. Nothing.
Oh no, I understand that. They always find a way to choke like they did last year in 2017. But I will say this. I will say this year, there's no real major glaring weakness. I would say
No.
where compared to like last year was the defense. 2017 it was the offense as a whole. Maybe you might say the running game's not that dominant. Which, by the way, people are going to give Carson Beck a lot of flack because of his 4 interceptions. They ran for 2.6 yards per carry tonight. Their running game was completely stifled. They couldn't get anything on the ground. So, and then the O-line was getting carved up by Louisville too. So, which, by the way, I did see a stat that said Louisville had like a 55% pressure rate, which was like leading the FBS or something during the game. So maybe Louisville's defensive front is legit, but yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for being here.
All right, thank you.
All right, Muley stopping by. And again, we'll be here late night on Saturday. And so you can catch us then. We got Rob to finish us off because I don't think we're going to hit our mark. Otherwise, I'll be here all night. Rob, what's going on tonight?
Hey, Mark. Just checking in. Probably won't be able to call in tomorrow because I'll be with some friends and family watching the game. And, this is a big one for Notre Dame. If they lose this, they are completely out of the playoffs, and the season will be it'll be a failure. So hopefully they win. But anyways, hopefully it's a great last game of the series, apparently, because these two stupid programs can't work out something to keep it going. And I'm not just going to blame USC like some Notre Dame fans are, because at least I think the last thing I heard was that USC basically gave Notre Dame an option like, hey, let's play this game as like one of the first games of the year or something like that if you want to do like a really long-term rivalry reset. And I don't think Notre Dame is approved of that yet. So I don't know. Hopefully, the ADs and these programs can get this going. But yeah.
Well, Adam has bought us some more time, unfortunately, because I would like to go watch these games actually and not be up until 5 a.m. and then up at 8 a.m. So maybe we'll put Adam's super chat on a tab or something. We'll forward it going forward unless I get more calls.
I could do, maybe add it to the tab tomorrow or something for the main course. Tonight's kind of the, honestly, this was a great Friday night as far as games. Miami and Louisville. And I'll say this about Louisville. They are constantly underrated, in my opinion, as someone who has to play them relatively frequently over the last several years. They're a tough physical team. And they seem to have like a choke job at least once a year where they kind of derail their own playoff aspirations. But Louisville's a good team, and I think they showed it tonight on a big stage. Carson Beck did his best 2024 Carson Beck impersonation. Thanks for doing that, Carson, by the way. You could have, we could have used that against Notre Dame in the first game of the year, but, save it for Louisville, I guess. I still think it's funny to me that Carson has maybe the two best he might have the best 1-2 punch of receivers in the country, and that's saying something considering USC has Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon, but I don't know that Malachi Toney and CJ Daniels aren't better. It's close. I think both of those guys are insane. So, there's some good competition out there. But anyway, I think I'll get off here, Mark, so you can watch some football. And I don't know that I'll call in tomorrow because I'll probably be up pretty late. But if I don't, I'll talk to you next time.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating one, and it's one of the great helmet games, of course, in college football every year. But this is going to be extremely interesting since USC showed us something last week. But they got to travel now, and they got to back it up 2 weeks in a row. And I don't know that a Lincoln Riley team has done that yet. And of course, Notre Dame's playing for its season. They're both, in a sense, playing for their season, even though, of course, USC can lose another game, but then they'd be walking the tightrope. So huge game all around.
Yeah, I'll say this. USC hasn't beat Notre Dame in South Bend since 2011. And I would hate for the first time they do that to take the jeweled shillelagh and run away with it and in the series. So Notre Dame better be fighting for their honor tomorrow. Should be a good game though. Hopefully, like that, along with Georgia, Ole Miss, and some other games out there, should be a really good day of college football. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am as well. No doubt. I am as well. All right, Rob, thanks for being here. Enjoy the game.
Thanks.
So we've got some plans tomorrow night. Don't know when I'll be here. I may be here at the normal time, meaning right after the primetime games at roughly midnight Eastern. Yeah, I should be able to make it by then. I don't think there's any question. I'll be able to make it by then. Adam, thank you so much for the super chat. We'll do some math based on timing of shows this week and contributions, and we'll add it onto the tab one way or the other, or maybe it's just making up for overtime throughout the week. Whatever it is, Adam, thank you so much for the contribution. Adam saying right here, Mark, you've been very spirited tonight. Yeah, it just annoyed me. What can I say? I get annoyed from time to time, and I got a little annoyed. Just I was smirking as I came home, knew nothing of what happened, and did not get home until 11:45 tonight. Was gone all night, no idea what had happened with these games, even though I was actually looking forward all week to these games, but plans came up. So I was out and flipped on the TV, and I wasn't going to do this, like watch the games and not know what happened. No, I throw up my laptop. I want to see stats while I'm watching the game. So boom, I see the scores, and I'm just like, seriously, this could not have happened to two. Not that I've got anything against either fan base. It's more that it's just so ironic. It's just the irony of the mess that I hear from certain people in those fan bases. I think Miami much more so than Nebraska, that have just been head in the clouds this season. And again, I get it. You should be excited about your team. You have won the most difficult games collectively in college football. No doubt, Miami. But again, be happy with the wins as they come. And I should have pulled up the Miami comments and chat from the last couple weeks. It's just absurd, the kind of stuff that they're spewing out there. Not that it won't happen or couldn't happen, but if I was a master of analogy, guys, I would come up with a good one right now, but I can't, or I don't have it in me, or nothing's come to mind right this second. But I'm sure that there are some phenomenal analogies to put that in perspective of what at their place in college football right now, to call out the best programs like you've got a ticket to January. And again, they may get there, they may earn it, but goodness gracious, look at this program. It's been a mess, and this team is not responsible for the last 20 years. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you would think that this fan base would be a little smarter and would have a little bit more class and tact. But that's being a fan, i.e. fanatic. Okay, Adam, thank you for being. Oh, I got to read the super chat. Yes, very spirited tonight, but have refused to call out that loudmouth. I've not refused to do it. Bully Pat Kraft. I am appalled. Tongue in cheek, of course. Adam is appalled. I guess this means he wants me now to call out Pat Kraft. I got to say, I didn't watch the news conference. Again, you're catching the voice of college football is not full-fledged, full throttle voice of college football circa like certainly 2020 to 2023. And even before 2020, as many people would attest to, even when I was working at the Worldwide Leader, shoot, I was churning out much more content than I am now. How I was doing that, I don't know now. But you're not getting the full-fledged because, hey, Mark's got to make some money. So I'm got my head out of the game and in other industries and doing other things. So I can't keep up with all this crap during the day. I no longer do that. So yes, I don't know. I only know what I heard. And it was hyperbole and it was overblown and it was a bunch of hot air based on what I heard. Adam, thank you for that. Jackson, thank you so much for all that you do. Jackson's phenomenal. We can't thank Jackson enough. Jackson's on the Alabama channel Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and post game, and he's all over the network all the time, working behind the scenes. Jackson is our utility guy, but I don't want to demean him as a utility guy because that has a connotation with him as like no talent, like you can play second, short, and third. No, he's the utility guy, but he is also doing an exceptional job at the same time. Social media and the like. So Jackson's all over the place. So we very much appreciate Jackson. Thanks for being here. You guys enjoy the football on Saturday. I will do some instant analysis. Noon. Who are we watching at noon? I think we've got a Michigan-Washington game. I want to see that one. And I'm sure there's another good one I want to see at noon Eastern. Really want to see USC and Notre Dame. Yeah, Ole Miss and Georgia playing. Yeah, some good football games coming up. Iowa, Penn State. Oklahoma, South Carolina, good games in the SEC. Texas A&M and Arkansas, Mississippi State, Florida. Those come to mind as well. All right, folks. Appreciate you being here. See you on Saturday.